I've stood beneath a sky that burned, where every cloud was edged in red, where storms would grind against my bones and whisper doubts inside my head. But even when the light grew thin and thunder tried to claim my name, I held my ground with steady breath, refusing fear, refusing shame. For men are built from deeper fires than those that tear the heavens wide, and from grit that rises through the dark, from strength no storm can push aside, and through the wind I learned to try to face the vast blood-forged sky. I've walked through nights that stretch for miles, where silence weighed like broken steel, where memories pressed against my ribs and made the world too sharp to feel. But still I move with stubborn steps. I didn't bow, I didn't fold, for something deep inside my chest kept burning quiet, burning bold. It wasn't like that the earth, nor fire meant to scorch or scare, just a steady flame that kept me whole when nothing else was left to bear. And from that heat I came to fly beneath the vast blood-forged sky. Blood-forged sky above my path, I rise through fire, I rise through red, through storms that break, through winds that pry. I stand beneath the blood-forged sky. No doubt remains, no fear runs high. My strength was shaped in blood-forged sky, through ash and dust, through trials. Now I walk reborn in blood-forged sky. I felt the world lean hard on me, the kind of weight that cracks the bone, the kind that leaves a man unsure of what is his or what he's on. But even then I found my breath, a deeper kind that tempers will, the breath that's steady, shaking hands and teaches wounded hearts to heal. It carried me through darker fields, through nights that wished to see me fall. And though I stumbled more than once, I rose again, I faced it all. For strength comes slow but never dies. It grows beneath the blood-forged sky. Scream, I've walked through worse than what they mean, for in my chest no flame will die. It'll burn in blood-forged sky. Blood-forged sky, I rise complete, through every loss, through every heat. No cold remains, no blade can try to cut the man the sky forged high. Through dust, through storms, through nights awry, I walk alive in blood-forged sky. I walk alive in blood-forged sky. I walked through fire long before I ever learned to stand. Felt the heat inside my bones, like something carved by a steady hand. The world had ways of testing me, of pushing me past what I knew. And every burn left marks that shaped the man I somehow grew into. But pain can be a ruthless teacher, one that cuts but never lies. And through the flames I found the truth the darkness couldn't compromise. I'm not defined by what tried to break me. I'm built by the burn that made me. The scars I carry on for pity, they're the proof that I endured. A map of everything I conquered, every fracture I matured. I've stood in storms that stripped me down, left nothing but my will to fight. But even then, a quiet ember burned its way into the night. Strength isn't loud, it's not the roar, it's the breath you take in pain. It's standing up with shaking hands and choosing to walk on again. And though the past tried hard to claim me, I rose from the burn that made me. The burn that made me, the fire that stayed, the heat inside the cracks the world had laid. Through ash and sorrow, through nights unspoken, I built my soul from what was broken. No storm can shake me, no fear can sway me. It's because of the burn that made me. There were nights I felt hollow, lost between the man I was and should be. But even then the flame kept breathing somewhere deep and quietly. A man grows stronger in the silence, more than in the roaring days. In moments where he must rely on nothing but his inner blaze. And so I walked through shadowed roads, through bitter winds and heavy skies, until the fire turned to wisdom, burning steady, burning wise. The pain is gone, but the strength obeys me. Gift of the burn that made me. Fire breaks a weakened spirit, but it builds the ones who hear it. Every spark can shape your fate, every burn can elevate. The burn that made me, the forge inside, the quiet reason I survive. Through every fall, through every plea, it carved the man I came to be. No darkness claims me, no doubt can shade me. I walk with pride in the burn that made me. There were nights I stood alone, with nothing but the cold to hear. A quiet world of broken thoughts, of distant scars, of hollow fear. But even then beneath the dark, a trace of warmth refused to die. A stubborn spark inside my chest that kept its glow against the sky. I learned that strength survives in silence, grows in places torn apart, and every bruise the world once gave became the fuel inside my heart. For even when the cold delivers somewhere deep, the flame remembers. I've walked through streets of faded hope, where every shadow knew my name, where voices drifted in the wind, reminding me of loss and blame. But I kept moving through the dust, refusing chains of yesterday. And piece by piece I rose again, rebuilt the man I am today. For nothing forced from pain alone can shake the ground beneath my feet. And every fall I lived through once became a fire that won't retreat. The past may whisper, doubt may simmer, but still inside, the flame remembers. The flame remembers every fight, every break, every sleepless night. It kept me warm when hope grew thin. It sparked again when strength wore in. Through ash and cold, through fading embers, I rise because the flame remembers. No storm can steal what flickers brighter. The heart rebuilt by fire's light serve. I felt the world press hard enough to turn a lesser soul to stone, but something deep refused to break. A fire carved into my bone. It wasn't loud, it wasn't wild, no roaring blaze to blind the sky, just steady heat that held its place, the kind that refuses to die. It taught me how to stand through storms, how to breathe deep when weight runs high, how to stay grounded when the world expected me to bend or cry. For men grow strong through inner tremors, and mine stands firm. The flame remembers. Whoa. And when the dark tries to return, I feel the quiet embers burn. A softer glow, a steady tremor, a voice inside. The flame remembers how I rose, how I survived the hardest blows. No cold remains, no doubt delivers. A wound too deep, the flame remembers. And through the dust, through fears that wither, I walk ahead, the flame burns with me. A fire that never fails or shivers, a truth that lives, a flame that remembers. Carried heat beneath my ribs, a fire older than my name, a slow determined pulse of strength that never bowed to fear or flame. The world has tried to drain me dry, to grind my spirit into stone. But even when the nights were thick, I felt that ember stand its own. It whispered low through every fall, through every road I had to climb. A quiet force that kept me moving when the world ran out of time. Through broken breaths and muted pains, I felt it burn through ember's veins. Hey. I've walked through dust where dreams lay cracked, where heavy truths were carved in black, where rusted doubts clung to my voice and tried to drag my footsteps back. But still I kept my chest aligned, I held my ground against the strain. For men are shaped not by the calm, but by the nights that test the brain. And every scar that found my skin became a lesson in control, a reminder that the ember lives in deeper corners of the soul. No cold could cut what fire sustains, the strength that runs through ember's veins. Through ember's veins I rise again, through shattered roads, through howling wind. No fear remains, no doubt explains the fire running in ember's veins. I stand through storms, I stand through chains. A man kept warm by ember's veins. No break defines, no dark restraints the power running in ember's veins. I felt the weight of silence press, the kind that makes the world feel still, the kind that asks if you will break or find a deeper, stronger will. But in that hush I heard the heat, a steady rhythm in my chest, a stubborn glow that wouldn't fade, that wouldn't yield to any test. It didn't roar, it didn't flare, it simply stayed when light was thin. A quiet fire guiding me back to the place where strength begins. For all I am and all remains is rooted deep in ember's veins. Oh, let cold winds howl, let shadows chase. The ember burns in its own pace. No night can claim, no dark ordains the light that flows through ember's veins. Through ember's veins I walk restored, a man rebuilt, a grounded core. Through ash, through storms, through losses gained, my fire lives in ember's veins. No fear survives, no doubt sustains against the heat in ember's veins. I rise again through burns and chains, a life that moves through ember's veins. Yeah. I've walked through nights that scraped the bone, where every breath felt carved in steel, where silence held a colder truth than any wound I used to feel. But even when the world grew sharp and shadows cornered every thought, I found a spark beneath the weight that whispered strength strength I once forgot. It wasn't loud, it didn't blaze, but still it held this quiet place. A stubborn heat that stayed alive when everything felt out of pace. Through dust and doubt, through wounds unhealed, I learned to rise from ashes of steel. I've known the pull of darker roads, the kind that drag the heart too low, where every memory feels like rust and every thought begins to slow. But still I move with steady steps, refusing what would break my spine. For men are shaped through harder days, not ones that fall too soft or kind. And every scar I carry long became the proof I wouldn't bow. A mark of fire taught me how to keep my ground, to keep my vow. No storm could make my spirit yield. I hold my life in ashes of steel. Ashes of steel beneath my skin, the quiet fire I breathe within. Through every fall, through every reel, I stand reborn in ashes of steel. No night too dark, no doubt too real, can't break a heart made ashes of steel. Through smoke and cold, through fate's ordeal, I rise again from ashes of steel. I face the weight of empty rooms, where shadows tried to claim my name, where every heartbeat cracked the dark and every choice revived the flame. But even when the world felt thin, I felt the iron in my chest, a steady pulse that would not fade, that would not fall beneath the test. It guided me through storms that came, through nights that wanted me undone. It showed me strength is built in layers, forging battles seldom won. And from the heat, my will revealed a deeper core of ashes and steel. Let fire rise, let silence call. I've stood my ground through every fall, for nothing breaks what time can heal, what grows from dust in ashes of steel. Ashes of steel, I hold my ground through shifting winds, through colder sound. No break remains, no wound can steal the fire born in ashes of steel. Through storms that bend, through nights that kneel, I walk alive, my ashes of steel. I've carried weight through bitter winds, the kind that grinds a man to dust. I felt the world press on my chest, with every promise turned to rust. But even when the nights were cold and every breath was carved in pain, I kept my spine against the storm, refusing loss, refusing shame. For men are built from deeper things, the moments meant to make them brave. From silent grit, from honest fire, from all the trials they undertake. And so I stand through ash and trust, a soul rebuilt from bone and rust. I've walked through fields of broken hope, where nothing felt like it could stay. But still I move with steady steps, refusing darkness its own say. The world can twist, the nights can bend, but strength grows slow beneath the skin. Forged by every battle fought, by every scar that settled in. I learned to breathe through heavy hours, to hold my ground when edges fade, to rise again with sharpened will, when everything feels stripped away for what I am. The storms discuss, a man shaped firm by bone and rust. Bone and rust, I stand unshaken through the weight of worlds I haven't taken. Through fires roar and time's cold gust, I live through bone and heart and rust. No flaw defines, no fear adjusts the strength I forged in bone and rust. I rise through storms that break and thrust, a man unbroken, bone and rust. I felt the cracks along my heart, but none of them were carved in vain. Each one a mark of where I stood and what I learned through loss and strain. The fire tried to turn me weak, the cold tried hard to take my pride, but something deeper held its place, a steadiness I keep inside. It's not the shout of fearless men, it's not the armor they pretend. It's quiet power earned alone, the kind that doesn't need to bend. I walk ahead, no longer crushed, my soul held tight by bone and rust. And if the world forgets my name, I'll still remain inside the flame. For nothing breaks what's built robust, a heart of fire, bone and rust. Bone and rust, I rise again through hollow nights and shifting men. No storm can steal, no cold can thrust the strength I've grown from bone and rust. Through shadows deep, through winds that gust, I stand complete in bone and rust. There's dust in my shadow, following slow, a quiet reminder of where I've had to go. Places where the ground was broken, where the nights were carved in stone, where I walk with heavy footsteps, but I walk that road alone. The world tried hard to bend me, to pull the fire from my hands, but I learned that strength is something only a wounded man understands. And though the past still leaves its echo, it clings like dust within my shadow. My shadow knows the storms I carry, the truths I never shared aloud, the weight of battles fought in silence, the scars I wear without a shroud. It moves with me in every step, a ghost of who I used to be, a mirror cast on battered ground, a shape the darkness lets me see. But dust is just a memory, it settles where the wind won't stay, a relic of the pain that shaped me, not a chain that leads the way. So let it cling but never swallow, just dust that sleeps inside my shadow. Dust in my shadow, but fire in my chest, a man rebuilt by loss who still refuses to rest. I rise through the ashes of everything known, I walk through the world with the strength of my own. The dust may follow, but I stand proud and narrow, for nothing can break me, not dust in my shadow. The past can weigh like iron chains if you let it hold you down too long. But I've learned to turn those rusted links into something sharp, into something strong. Every fear I used to bury, every doubt that made me freeze, has turned into a quiet fire, a steady burn that doesn't cease. A man is not his former ruins, not his wounds or past mistakes. He's shaped by how he rises after every fall the world creates. And though the past still tries to follow, it fades like dust behind my shadow. Let the world forget the battles, let the wind erase the trails, but I remember what I've carried and how I rose when courage failed. Dust in my shadow, but the strength stays mine. A fire that grows in the darkest design. I breathe through the storms, I move through the sorrow, I walk unbroken with dust in my shadow. No weight too heavy, no night too hollow. I rise again with dust in my... I've stood too close to flames that try to swallow every part of me. Watch the smoke rise from my failures, watch the truth burn patiently. Fire tests a man in silence, never warning what it'll take. It scorches weakness from his spirit, leaving only what won't break. And though the years were marked with scars, with roads that cut and nights that bled, I learned a lesson forged in heat. Fire never leaves what's said, it burns the lies, it clears regret. And what remains, the fire doesn't forget. I've carried heat beneath my ribs from battles no one ever saw. A quiet blaze that kept me standing when the world exposed its claw. When the nights were cold and heavy, when the past felt sharp and near, the fire whispered through the darkness, teaching strength instead of fear. It showed me how to walk through shadows, how to rise when life demands, how to build from dust and ashes with nothing but my two bare hands. Every wound becomes a silhouette, a mark the fire doesn't forget. Fire doesn't forget the man you were, the pain you held, the weight you bore. It keeps the truth inside its core, a heat that shapes you evermore. It burns away what held you down, reveals the strength you've always found. In every scar, in every thread, it whispers back, the fire doesn't forget. I've seen the flames reflect my failures, turning darkness into gold. Watch the ember of resilience rise inside me, fierce and bold. The world can try to dim your spirit, try to crush the fight you've earned, but nothing steals a man rebuilt by everything he's lived and burned. The heat becomes a kind of armor forged from trials long survived, proof that even in destruction something stronger stays alive. In every breath, in every sweat, I feel the fire that won't forget. Let the flames recall the nights, let them honor silent fights. For every burn becomes a guide, a light that never leaves your side. Fire doesn't forget the course, the roads you lost, the lines you crossed. It turned your fear to strength instead. It carves your soul where shadows tread. Through storm or night, you won't regret the man you are. The fire doesn't forget. I've carried weight beneath my ribs, the kind that grinds like metal to wound, where every memory felt like rust from battles fought before I was born. But even when the world grew sharp and time pressed heavy on my chest, I felt a pulse that wouldn't die, a stubborn rhythm built to test. It didn't roar, it didn't shine, it simply beat when strength was thin. A worn down thump that kept its pace through every loss I held within. Through broken nights and true sun need, I stood beside my rusted heartbeat. I've known the days where doubt runs deep, kind that chills a man to bone, where even breathing feels like work and every step feels walked alone. But still that pulse inside my chest refused to fade, refused to yield. It tapped its rhythm slow and rough like I'm burned, buried in the field. It kept its time when hope was scarce, when all the light around felt weak, when shadows linger near my hands and try to tear out what I seek. But I stayed firm through cold and heat, guided by that rusted heartbeat. Rusted heartbeat, strong and slow, pushing through the weight I know. Through fire sting, through winter's bite, it kept me warm through endless night. No storm could crush, no fear could cheat the quiet power of a rusted heartbeat. Through ash and earth beneath my feet, I rise again, my rusted heartbeat. I walked through storms and never spoke, the kind that watched me lose my way. But still that pulse beneath my skin reminded me I'd stand one day. It wasn't bright, it wasn't clean, it wasn't made of shining gold. It beat with grit, with truth, with scars, with everything I've ever told. It shaped the man I came to be, a man of depth, a man of ground, the kind who rises slow and firm, who knows his strength without a sound. And every fall I made complete was softened by my rusted heartbeat. It beats through dust, through iron stain, through every loss, through every gain. A steady thrum, no fear can eat, a stubborn, strong, rusted heart. Rusted heartbeat, I remain through shifting winds, through dust and rain. It kept me whole when life felt bleak. It carried me through every street. No cold survives, no doubt can meet the fire inside my rusted heartbeat. I rise for good, I rise concrete, a man rebuilt by a rusted heartbeat. There were days when the world felt cold, when every step was carved in doubt, when silence filled the spaces where my voice once tried to reach out. But even in the quiet storms, beneath the weight of heavy skies, I felt a flicker deep within that never let my spirit die. It wasn't loud, it didn't shout, it didn't beg the night for room. Just a steady glow inside my chest, refusing to be consumed. Through dust and pain, through lessons learned, I walk with sparks the world discerned, the kind no wind could overturn. The quiet truth, silent sparks burn. I face the dark that crowds the mind, the kind that lingers without end. The shadows shaped by worn out fears, the kind of man must learn to bend. But through the black I held my ground. I kept my breath, I kept my pace. For somewhere in that beauty fire, I found a stronger, calmer place. Not everything that burns must blaze. Not every flame must scorch the night. Some fire stay beneath the ribs, becoming slow but growing bright. And in that heat I could affirm the strength of those silent sparks that burn. Silent sparks burn low and deep. Through every wound I try to keep, they guide my steps through ash and turn. A quiet fire that helps me learn. No storm can shake, no cold can spurn the hidden glow where sparks still burn. Through darkest roads, through twists that churn, I rise because silent sparks burn. I've lived through nights that bent the soul, where voices faded into dust, where even hope seemed out of reach, and every heartbeat felt unjust. But still I carried something warm, a warmth no winter could erase. A steady pulse reminded me that strength survives in hidden ways. It shaped my will, it shaped my stance, it shaped the man I've come to be. A man who knows that inner flames burn far beyond what eyes can see. And deep inside those sparks return to light the path where shadows yearn. They do not shout, they do not roar, yet burn within a quiet core. A softer flame, but still I learn. The strongest sparks are those that burn. Silent sparks. Oh, oh. Silent sparks burn through the night. A guiding heat of subtle light. Through every fall, through each concern, I rise because silent sparks burn. No doubt remains, no code adjourns the fire inside. Silent sparks burn. I walked through days that felt like rust, where every thought was hard to hold, where time moved slow across my skin and turned my quiet fire cold. But even in the weight of that, beneath the pressure and the strain, I felt a rhythm in my chest that kept on pulsing through the rain. It wasn't loud, it wasn't fierce, it didn't rise with sudden glow, just steady strength that kept me grounded, proof that iron breathes slow. And through the years, through loss and fight, I learned to trust that inner light. I've seen the world try hard to bend the parts of me that wouldn't break. I felt the pull of darker nights that tried to claim what I could make. But still I moved through dust and fear, through hidden wounds and quiet aches. For men aren't shaped by perfect days, but by the storms a lifetime takes. And in the silence of those trials, I found a truth I didn't know, that strength is not the roar of fire, but how the iron breathes slow. A patient force, a tempered core, a heart that learns to fight once more. Iron breathes slow through every fall. wall. It holds its heat, it keeps its tone, stands when everything is gone. No fear can shake, no doubt can throw a steady way that iron breathes slow. A quiet fire beneath the blow. A man of death where iron breathes slow. Oh, iron breathes slow. I felt the cold of empty rooms, the echo of a fading will. But somewhere deep I kept a flame that didn't die, that wouldn't still. It warmed the corners of my voice, it gave my tired bones a stand, a strength no storm could tear apart, a truth no fear could reprimand. Not all resilience comes in heat, not all resolve must blaze or roar. Some power moves in slower breaths, becoming more than what came before. And in that heat I came to know the way true iron breathes slow. Let shadows fall, let tempests rise. The iron holds beneath the lies. A quiet burn, a grounded flow. The soul rebuild where embers glow. Through every night, through every doubt, it dims the light, it keeps its fire, it keeps its glow. A steady truth, a steady truth. No storm can slow through ash, through pain, through ebb and flow. I stand alive. My iron breathes slow. Iron breathes slow. There's rust on my reflection, shadows clinging to my skin. A map of everything I've carried, every place that I've been in. The mirror shows the scars I earned, the lines I forged through fire's breath, the remnants of a younger man who fought his way through dust and death. But I don't flinch at what I see, I don't deny the tarnished frame. For rust is just the proof of living, not a symbol carved by shame. The world may judge what time has done, but I see strength in every section. Even rust upon my own reflection. The glass remembers storms I weathered, nights I stood on broken ground. The weight of choices carved in silence when no one else was around. And though the years have left their shadow, though the bruises still remain, they shaped a man who rises deeper, who stands taller after pain. Reflection doesn't show the fire, doesn't show the roads I won. It only gives a tired surface, never what the heart's become. But I don't need that that old perfection. I trust the truth in my reflection. Rust on my reflection, but iron in my soul. A man rebuilt by heat and time, a man who learned control. No crack can break my center, no stain can take my pride. For every mark upon that mirror shows the storms I've survived. So let the years keep painting, let the way reveal direction. I stand unbroken with rust on my reflection. A polished face can hide the struggle, hide the battles fought and lost, but rust reveals the honest story, every sacrifice and cost. I've walked through doubt that left me hollow, through nights that nearly stripped me bare, but each one left a trace of iron, something sharp enough to bear. And now I see the man I've become, forged in silence, shaped by grit, a soul that carried on through darkness long before the dawn was lit. I breathe with calm introspection and honor rust on my reflection. Rust means I endured the rain, means I rose despite the pain. Every mark becomes protection, a testament in my reflection. Rust on my reflection, but strength that won't decay, a heart that beats with quiet fire, a man who won't give way. No storm can dim the iron, no doubt can steal direction, for I am more than rust. I walk through nights that cut like stone, where every breath felt scraped and thin, where silence pressed against my chest and tried to keep me caged within. But even when the world went cold and shadows claimed the outer walls, a quiet warmth beneath my ribs reminded me the fire calls. It wasn't loud, it didn't blaze, it didn't tear the darkness wide, just a steady pulse that kept its glow when everything else stepped aside. Through loss, through dust, through breaking falls, I found my way where the still fire calls. I face the weight of heavy roads, the kind that twist a man in two, where doubt sneaks in with rusted hands and tries to choke what's strong and true. But still I walked with anchored steps through bitter winds and fractured ground, for deep inside, beneath the scars, a stubborn flame refused to drown. It flickered soft but never died, a patient ember holding on, a quiet truth that kept me whole long after lesser fires were gone. And in that heat my spirit stalls, then rises when the still fire calls. The still fire calls through ashes flashing night, a whisper strength beneath the fight. No storm can dim, no cold installs a quiet flame when the still fire calls. Through broken paths, through winds that moan, I rise again. The still fire calls a grounded heart, a will that sprawls. I stand restored as the still fire calls. I've lived through days when hope was thin, when every truth felt hard to hold, when every choice weighed heavy down and every dream seemed cracked and old. But somewhere in the quiet ache, a warmth remained beneath the pain, a kind of fire built from grit that pulled me to my feet again. It taught me strength is not the roar that shakes the sky with burning breath, but how a man keeps moving on when life feels close to freezing death. In that calm glow no darkness throws, I breathe again as a still fire calls. A steady hum that kills the fear. No night can drown, no grief appalls the flame that wakes when the still fire calls. The still fire calls and I stand tall through every rise, through every fall. No doubt remains, no shadow sprawls across the place where the still fire calls. Through dust, through storms, through life's hard thralls, I walk renewed, the still fire calls. There's a still fire call.